guys, the Card Geek here. We're going to run through a 5-card read using the Lenormand cards. I'm using the Siren Song. I have shuffled and now I'm ready to lay. I have obviously asked a super wonderful question in my head, which happens to be what's happening next week in my life, because that was the easiest thing that jumped into my head. And I'm now laying the cards. 5 cards from left to right. So we have key, woman, dog, cloud, rider. We're going to run through techniques, not in necessarily interpretation. We're going to run through the techniques. So here we have a storyboard, which is your first option. A storyboard read or a narrative read reads from card 1 through to card 5. So you start with the key and you move along telling the story until you get to the end. The second technique is to have a focus card. Some readers choose the first card to be their focus, and this is the subject then of their read. And the other cards describe it further. Some people choose the central card as the focus, the central focus, in this case dog and loyalty. And the other cards then would explain the dog or the loyalty further. There's another technique. Third technique is near or far, and you choose significators in your line. So say you ask the question about health, and for example tree comes up in the line, you will look from tree. I ask the question about my life, woman comes up, so I will start with woman as my significator. I will firstly read the cards which directly affect me. They're the near cards, and they're the ones that will tell me most about my situation. And then we have the far cards, which tell me still about my situation, but they affect me to a lesser extent than the key and the dog. Another significator, which is great that I got these as they were coming out. I have another significator here, which is clouds. And clouds tells you what trouble you can expect. So what trouble I can expect next week. And if I wanted to read this in the near far, I could choose clouds to find out what the issue is next week. And I would firstly read my cards closest to the clouds, which happens to be dog and rider. So some kind of messages from a friend. And that's what's going to cause me the trouble next week. And then to a lesser extent, here I am and key. So that's how you would use your significators. You would choose the card which applies to the situation the greatest and use that as your significator. Or of course, your man or your woman card. Another technique that is often used in Germany is a past, present and future. We would take the 2 cards as past, present and then future, similar to the focus card being in the center. That's the here and now, and the 2 cards behind them combined show the near past and how that had an influence on the current situation. And the 2 cards in the future position showing the future dynamics regarding this current situation. So again, that's very similar to the focus card. What I suggest to all readers is that you learn all the techniques. It doesn't hurt you to go through and learn each technique or practice each technique. But at the end of the day, you need to own your read. You need to stick to one technique. Choose which technique works best for you and stick to it.